Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of Thursday Night Lights, brought to you by the Patio, Grubs, and Suds in Wellston, Ohio. We are live at that location. Jordan and Nate, pretty good crowd tonight.
Nice crowd out.
Not too bad.
Very nice.
Very nice weather. Now, it's supposed to be back in the 90s next week.
It's football weather right now, for sure.
That's why I was thinking driving down the road yesterday evening. I was like, man, I felt that crisp coming. I had the windows down and felt that cool air coming in.
It was nice.
It's time, boys.
We felt like that down at Fairland on Friday.
Oh, it was perfect down there.
Got a little bit crisp. But as is the case in Southern Ohio, day to day.
Yeah. It might be 105 tomorrow. We just don't know.
Right. So I'm Matt Petersen. With me tonight, Nathan Molihan to my right, Jordan Lackey to my left. We're here to give you some college football news and updates on the previous week. We're going to look at upcoming matchup with Minford Falcons this Friday. Coach Graham will be stopping by later. Our second segment tonight, we're pretty excited. We've got band director Katie King here. She's got some of her seniors with her, so we'll be talking to them later on.
I can't hear
Mike,
anything.
check. Sorry to you guys watching out there, but we just lost ears. So we've got nothing. Mike, you got mics? That sounds like the mics went dead.
Oh, sure.
We're going to pause just a minute to see if we can deal with these technical difficulties. We'll be right back. It's always something. What happened? This guy right on him. Lowered the boom, but
I'll text Graham real quick and say, that's it.
that's like once you have this, you can't hardly go without it. Yeah, that freaked me out. It's just like,
Silence.
Need you to go to people who are just watching. Michael just texted us something.
okay,
What'd he say?
I guess we're going. We apologize for that, folks. Right now, we don't have an ear monitor, so we can't hear the producer in the booth. But he just gave us a message here on the phone, said to go ahead and go with it. We are live, so he's going to work on getting us our ears back, so we're going to keep talking.
All right.
So if you just joined us, I'm Matt Petersen here with Nathan Molihan and Jordan Lackey. Later on, I think our second segment tonight will have Katie King,
Right.
the band director, on. She's got a few of her senior band members here. So we're excited about that. Tried to get them on for a couple weeks now. Chris Graham will be stopping by, head coach for the Golden Rockets. I'm sure he always brings a crew of players with him, so we'll see who he's got. Hopefully we'll have player of the game to talk about later on. Also our collision of the game, our hit of the game. So a pretty good show for you tonight. We'll start out on this first segment just kind of recapping the matchup down at Fairland on this past Friday. Of course, those of you that tuned in either on the radio or watched the BMG broadcast did not go as planned. So I kind of thought we might be able to go down there and compete, and I think for the most part we played pretty sound football. I didn't see anything that was too concerning as far as mistakes or miscues. In fact, I think we improved in a lot of ways and cleaned a lot of things up. But man, it was just a mismatch. Fairland is absolutely loaded.
They're a really good team. Like we talked, from the get-go, Fairland obviously understands we are light on our numbers, and so of course they come out, they run a kickoff back. Have us right now. That's a mental disadvantage right there from the get-go because our players are coming down there off a big win. They understand they got a big task down here with Fairland. Opening kickoff, run it back for a touchdown. The second offensive drive or play of the game, I think it was, Johnny Scott threw a real nice pass. Evan Cantor went right through his hands into the defensive guy's hands. The fastest guy in the field ran it back for a touchdown. So they're up 14-0 right off the bat. And so, I think, obviously, like I said, Fairland understand the situation we were in as far as the numbers. And when they got on offense, they went no huddle, hurry up, just pushing, pressing. And so by the time the middle of the second quarter, our guys were gassed. Not because they were out of shape, but because they're being forced to, play both sides of the ball. And that's what we kept saying over and over. Our guys, it's not like we're outgunned one-on-one. It's just the depth chart. And then when you get gassed like that and when you spread the field out like Fairland did, they have some guys that can fly. And when you're trying to chase those guys over the field, it makes it tough.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult.
Yeah, I mean, Fairland obviously at probably a different level than where you are as far as competing in their league and stuff like that. I mean, they seem like a pretty solid program.
Yeah.
They had some speed.
Right.
Just from what I saw, I get to see the first half, and it looked like they had a lot of speed. Those things happen when you get outgunned a little bit, especially when they run a kickoff back at the beginning of the football game, and you're playing uphill from the get-go. So,
right.
But there's lessons to be learned. You're going to be down in games and against. Fighting against adversity, and that's a good lesson to be learned.
Right.
To keep battling throughout the game. So
that's the one thing. Sorry, Matt, interrupt you. That's one thing we kept saying during the game. It didn't look like the guys from the press box laid down. They kept fighting. They kept battling. They didn't give up. And another, of course, positive that we looked at is PJ Petersen, of course, our stat guy, brought this up, is we had 0 penalties down there compared to 88 yards.
80 yards. I think it was like maybe 15 penalties for 80 yards in week one.
So you look at small.
What was the difference there?
0.
That's
0 against Fairland.
I mean, that's a gain right there. As a Wilson Rocket fan, as a
that's what,
Rocket,
as a fan, as a staff, that's what you look at. It's like little things like, all right, listen, we went up a team that was really good. They've been a good program for a long time. They've got a new coach, but not much change. That guy's been on the staff. Everyone pretty much stayed the same. And so you look at the little victories, the little things you can take away from that. Look, and hey, listen, we improved our penalties, which is huge. Because as you come into TVC play, that's going to be big. If you can limit those penalties, especially when you're in the situation we are with numbers, you got to make sure that your penalties don't come back to bite you when you're having a good drive.
And when you got and you know that you got a tough road ahead. We got some tough games coming up.
Right.
We got Minford this week. The list goes on and on with tough competition as we go throughout the season. And nipping these things at the bud quick and learning each week. Hey, we lost this week. A loss is a loss, no matter if you lose by 1 or you lose by 30. So there's lessons to be learned in a win.
Right.
So no plays ever ran perfectly. So you're always got to be ready to learn about, because these guys are, Minford is a tough program usually.
Right.
They're hard-nosed guys. They want to win. They know how to win. And if you look at our history there, Nate, I mean, you can talk about that right now.
The complete history back to 2000 is all I have. So we've played them 13 times. We've won 5. They've won 8. So that's a 38% winning percentage against Minford, which is, we got every game we're going to have a tough task because of our numbers. But we can beat these guys. We really can. They got a guy that's a good running back. So look at their first 2 game stats. The first game they played Rock Hill. They beat Rock Hill 17-7. They had 59 passing yards, 146 rushing yards for a total of 205. They gave up a total of 173 yards, 54 passing, 119 rushing. Game 2, they lost to Chesapeake 21-22. They had only 12 passing yards, 231 rushing yards.
It's not a balanced attack we're going to be looking at this
Right.
week.
No,
So-
not at all.
We're going to be looking at a run-heavy attack.
Right.
So we know that.
Special teams, they got a guy that can fly. Number 27, I'm not sure what his name is, but he's ran 3 punt back.
Mason Books.
Mason Books.
Yeah.
So he's ran 3 punt returns back for touchdowns this year already.
Yeah. Number 27.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a couple. That's just one of their athletes. The thing about Minford is they return almost their entire roster. They graduated 3 guys.
Yeah.
So everybody's back.
What was their record last year?
Let's see, their record was. They finished 6-5 last year.
Yeah, so they know how to win. They won a few games. We was 0-10 last year. We were not sure how to win games yet. We won our first game against Oak Hill. It was a huge win.
Right.
We're learning. So, Minford's trying to improve from 6-5. They're
Yeah.
trying to get to 7-4 or 7-3 or 6-4. So, hey, we've got a big challenge ahead, and I think our guys are ready to go.
That back's a big back, so as long as we contain him, we have a really good chance of winning this game. Really do.
Well, we're taking steps in the right direction. We're not shooting ourselves in the foot by doing dumb offensive penalties, false starts. We're staying more disciplined.
Right.
Obviously.
Well,
than what we did
and that
in
was the
week
big,
one.
that was a big jump from week 1 to Fairland, going from 80 yards and penalties to 0. And another thing that we kind of mentioned a little bit briefly on the radio broadcast was the body language. Something that you see out of teams, a lot of times if you're coming off of a losing season, and then you go out week 2 and you get drummed. A lot of times, about halfway through the game, guys start finger pointing or just down in the dumps. We didn't see that. I mean, we saw a team that came out, kept the same attitude, the same drive the entire night, and I think that's one of the biggest. You talk about wanting to take the little wins when you can, and there's some bright spots that we'll talk about, I'm sure, maybe in this segment later on in the show. But I think one of the biggest things is to hang your hat on the fact that you're fighters, that you're going to come out and you're going to slug it for 4 quarters. Doesn't matter if we're up 30 or down 30. We're going to come out. We're going to keep punching until it's all over. And that's kind of what we did. So that to me is a big takeaway. It's just the attitude difference and the culture difference that you're seeing in this Rocket team compared to last year. Of course, we brought back a lot of guys too. We just talked about Minford returning most of their roster. Only graduated 3. We didn't graduate very many either.
Right.
We've got a lot of young players that are starting to come into their own. I know Josh Clarkson's a sophomore. He was a letterman. Played the entire year at outside linebacker last year. So that's valuable experience that you get coming back. There's several other players like that. Gage Goheen's a senior. I'm not sure how many years he's been a starter. Hopefully we'll have him on the show later on this evening. We can ask him. But he's been such a vital part of that offensive line. If an offensive line has a captain, there's no question that it's that kid. And I mean, he goes hard every play, all game long, never stops. Great motor.
Every position on the field has to have a leader.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the quarterback, you're the leader. If you're on the line, there's a leader.
Right.
Running backs have got a leader. Receivers have got a leader. Linebackers have got a leader. D-line's got a leader. Secondary's got a leader. There's all a guy out there that somebody's looking to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To lead the way. And hopefully we've got those people identified and we're working all towards the same goal. At the end of the day.
Yeah, because I know we've all been around folks, and maybe I've even been that negative leader sometimes back in school, not understand things. So you're leading positive or negative, and hopefully the guys are being positive out there. Like we said, the body language of these guys out there were impressive with the situation we were in. They come out and they kept swinging, kept fighting, kept punching. And that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, for example, if you're a senior and you're out there in the field and you're out there doing stuff, bad body language stuff, that's not good for the team because all these young guys are looking at you. And that's what,
the key right there.
You know what I'm saying? And we're trying to build positive things each week, each quarter, each possession.
One of the first things, one of the best leadership lessons I've ever learned is, I won't do the analogy here or the demonstration, but basically people see what you do more than they hear what you say. So you could come out all day long and say, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. If you're a leader, they're looking at what you do. And what you do will set the standard for their players. So as a leader, you've got to do that every day. You got to come in, you got to be consistent. And as a coach and staff, that's what's going to help you get over the top some of these games that maybe, it's one of the, we could win. It could go either way, 50-50. And then the leadership of those guys doing the right thing, not just in the game, but it's more important to do it during the week, during the summer, because that
In the weight
develops.
room.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where you create winning programs. And so, but like we said, I can't say enough about the boys. They're playing their butts off. They had a tall task. We've said that 20 times probably during the broadcast. It was a tough game for them, and they just kept swinging.
Yeah. A lot of positives to be taken from it.
Yeah.
Although we took a loss, I mean, absolutely a lot of positives to be taken.
Yeah, we had, of course, Kel fought. He had, 218 yards on 8 returns. And,
Ran hard.
Yeah.
Ran hard.
There's a couple times, even on those returns, and then a couple passes he caught out of the backfield. I told Matt, I said, he reminded me a lot of Ted Ginn, because Ted Ginn could just turn on the burners and move. And then Ted Ginn was kind of unorthodox in running style. He didn't look really fast, but he was blazing.
He glided out there.
That's the way Kel is. He's pretty fast. And so he took a beating on those 8 kickoff returns. Actually, there was 9 kickoffs. One went out of bounds. He returned 8. So he took a beating. And on that last kickoff run, I mean, he almost broke, probably 4 or 5 tackles. I thought he would break it free for a big, long touchdown.
Yeah,
So
the effort that he had to put into those returns was 110%.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
he really did. He put more than he had probably into the effort, because if you watch him when he comes up off the ground, he's like, whew, man,
Yeah.
I tell you what, boys, pick me up, please, because I need some help, to get his wind back.
If you've never returned a kickoff in high school football, you're
running for your life
I tell you
out
what, it takes some guts, because first of all, you got to catch that ball, and it seems like it's up in the air forever.
Yeah.
Then once you catch it, you're like, all right,
and you can feel those footsteps coming.
There's only 11 guys, but it seems like there's 22 guys coming at you, and you got to be brave, to do that. So, hats off to him receiving 8 kickoff returns. And then we want to transition into player of the game.
Well, I kind of want to wait and see if he shows up.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Get him on the show if Coach
Maybe
Graham comes
take a break, too.
to his players.
So Mike wants to do a reboot once we go to break. So you want to go ahead and take a break, let him reboot his equipment.
Yes, that's fine. So again, apologize, folks, for the technical difficulties. Sometimes you run into that stuff. We're doing the best we can here. So we'll do that now. We'll take about a 10-minute break. See if Coach Graham shows up. Give Mike a chance to reset the equipment back there. We'll be right back at you here at the Patio, Grubs and Suds in Wellston, Ohio. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Patio, Grubs and Suds in Wellston, Ohio. I'm Matt Petersen, with me Nathan Molihan and Jordan Lackey. Coming into our second segment before we get to our guests coming up here. Nate, you got some news going on here at the Patio this weekend.
Yeah, we'll talk about the entertainment coming this weekend. A band called Ultrasound. They're going to be performing Saturday, 8 to 11. I'm not sure if you guys, we were talking in break about these guys have never heard them. Or actually, Jordan, have you heard them?
Oh, yeah.
They're good. They really kill it. Like they're
Yeah.
singing some Journeys out there.
I'm telling you, the lead singer of the band, he used to referee bowl games whenever I was in high school, and I saw him out there singing one night, and I was like, my gosh, this dude is talented. He really is.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable. The whole band.
Yeah, so if you have nothing to do, or if you need something to do, come out Saturday night, because those guys will not disappoint you. And plus the food, the menu's expanded here since they've changed over to Patio, Suds, and Grubs. I always miss that up there. But come out and enjoy it. It's a great atmosphere.
Yeah, the weather should be nice too.
Oh, it's going to be
I think
beautiful,
so.
beautiful. And of course, it'll be college football. We'll be on the big screen behind of us where this mat is. They have a huge TV back here, and they got a nice bar you can sit at and enjoy some food.
Absolutely.
So that's something we didn't plan on covering, but since you mentioned it, college football.
Yeah.
Coming up Saturday, Buckeyes play Indiana at 3:30. And I'm not sure what other games are on in the evening, but like Nate said, come down.
Yeah.
Hang out, man. It's a good atmosphere. They've done a great job with this place. Hats off to Keith and Wendy for letting us hang out here on Thursday nights, put this thing on. So
They sponsored it. It's not cheap. You know,
Right.
they put a lot of money out to sponsor this show, so we want to say thank you to them.
Yeah.
You know, and thanks to Mike. Of course.
Thanks for the hospitality too.
Yeah.
For us as a crew, you know, I mean, they've been nothing but generous to us, and
Absolutely.
we appreciate it.
And as we go forward, we're going to try to do more things like September the 14th. We're going to get a confirmation from Katie, but we want to have the band up here playing. So we'll open up the show to the band playing our fight song and just stuff like that. Yeah. So we're going to do some stuff upcoming, and we're learning as we go here. So again, keep your eye out for some upcoming fun.
Yeah, well, that's good to talk about the vision, though. And something I want to remind everybody is we do this live every Thursday. So the patio's open. There's people sitting out here with us now. Come and hang out, enjoy some good food, listen to three knuckleheads talk about high school football.
Absolutely.
Just have a good time, man. It's a good atmosphere. We really are trying to make this something a little bit bigger. So the more people that can participate in that, the better off we're going to be. So with that being said, we'll move on to our second segment here. Katie King, if she's in the back, can somebody go round her up? Katie.
Katie, you back there?
Paging Katie King.
She's back here. We talked to her just a little bit briefly before the show.
I just received a text from Coach Graham, and he said he's on his way up, so it should flow right in perfectly time-wise.
Timing should be good.
Perfect.
Yeah. And the one thing, the band, I was telling Katie King, I was trying to look up some history on the band because the band has been very, very successful. Overall, they've probably been the most successful organization, competition organization in our school history, recent history. So I was trying to find some information, and I couldn't find anything. So I was challenging Katie to maybe get with administration to put all their wins out there. So hey, Katie, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Hopefully we can get that mic position where we can hear you. We had a fourth one out here, but there were some issues with our monitors, so we had to switch out. But okay, producer says you sound great. So again,
Okay.
I've been blowing up your phone all week, so thanks for taking my text and coming on the show. You are a 2017 graduate of Wellston. How's it feel to be back home?
It feels amazing. It's honestly never something I really figured would happen. I thought that we would have our other band directors here for a long time, and I'm so thankful to be able to come back and step in this role, and just all the support that we have received through the beginnings of this. So I'm really thankful, happy to be here and give back to the program that helped me get my start in music. So.
Like
awesome.
we were talking before the segment, or before the show, about how much high school bands mean to the whole atmosphere of high school football and the college bands. During this preseason, you got scrimmages going on. There's no band. It's so quiet. Once you get that first game, the band's involved. It just gives another different level of energy. So
It's all part of the equation.
and I think
Absolutely.
a lot of times that's overlooked. So thank you for what you do.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And again, it's all the kids. They bring so much energy into what they do. They're always cheering, and that's one thing we've really tried to work on. I think in the past and this year is the positivity and just cheering on absolutely every team and every student who's out there. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I always want anytime the administration brings back a hometown student. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fantastic. There's no better way to
Back in
reinvest.
2017, did
Yeah.
you think you'd be
Absolutely
where you are
not.
today?
Nope, no way.
I mean, was that a goal for you then at that time?
So, getting into music is kind of interesting for me. So, I graduated from here in 2017, and I was set on auditioning for the School of Music at Ohio University, and I did that. But then I got cold feet right before I went to college that fall, and I changed my major to, I think I was doing middle school language arts and science education.
Oh, wow.
And I went through that schooling for about a year and a half, and I decided that the content really wasn't what I was like in love with. So I was thinking, I was like, what do I really love? And it was music. So I re-auditioned for the School of Music, and I was re-accepted, and I started studying music. And I graduated from OU in 2021. My student taught at Jackson City Schools. Then I had my first job last year. I was at Vinton County Schools, and now I made my way back here. So it's been kind of a crazy journey, but I think, everything happens for a reason, and we're meant to be where we are. So.
I think so too.
Jackson has a really good band. They have a fun
do.
band. They're fun to watch. So it's good to have that experience to go down there. Because sometimes when you are only, I guess, exposed to one area, you don't see everything out there. So getting exposure at Jackson and then up in Vinton County, I think it brings you good experience to bring a good program here.
Absolutely. I've had amazing mentors. Ryan Hurd, he's the band director at Jackson. He was my mentor teacher, and I learned so much from him. Sam Kugel, he's the band director at Vinton County. He was a big mentor for me as well. So I really owe a lot to those people, too.
And you had the opportunity to sit under Josh Willett, who's
did.
arguably one of the most successful band directors Wellston's had.
Yep.
I can't remember how many years, maybe you can refresh my memories, consecutive state qualifiers.
I should know this because I'm the new director, but I want to say they were reaching almost 20 years.
It was close.
It was
It was
close.
15 plus.
Yes, yep.
So having that experience is something else I want to make sure we brought up. And this to me, because I'm a little more familiar with marching band after high school. For those of you that aren't familiar with what opportunities are out there, the best way I can describe it is kind of a professional drum and bugle corps circuit called Drum Corps International, DCI. And Katie actually marched for Spirit of Atlanta that was part of the DCI experience. Tell us about how many years did you do that?
I did that for 2 summers. So DCI is, I think Matt kind of said it, it's almost like a professional marching band. So there's some all across the country, but the one that I auditioned for was in Atlanta, Georgia. So I got interested in this first through just being a member of the Wellston Band Program. My band director was Josh Willett, and he made sure that we knew what this organization was, what DCI was, and like the level of performance that could be achieved through the marching arts. So it was very inspiring to see just growing up, and it was something that I never thought that I could ever do. Just kind of being from a small town in a small place, and sometimes we just don't have those opportunities. But I went to Ohio University, and I met one of my best friends. Her name is Sophia Medved, and she had marched 2 seasons at Spirit of Atlanta in Georgia. So she was like, hey, Katie, why don't you come down and audition with me? Like, it would be a really great experience, and we'll just see what happens. So the first time ever, I think I was 18 or 19 years old. I got on my first airplane by myself, and I flew down to Atlanta, Georgia, like the biggest airport ever. It's huge, massive. I remember my mom is like crying as the airplane goes away because she was just nervous that like I was by myself. So I make it down there, and I go through like the most intense audition, training, physical experience like I've ever had before. I was like, we had to go through a fitness circuit. We had to see how many times we could, like how many push-ups, sit-ups, squats we could do, how fast we could run. Had to do that circuit so many times within 20 minutes. And I just could not believe the amount of physical ability you would need to do that. So I think the first time I did the circuit, I got through it 5 times, and they put you in like tiers. So there's tier 1 was like you're ready to go, tier 2 is like middle, and tier 3 is the bottom. I was in tier 2. But they said really when you come back for the summer, if you make the group, they need you to be in tier 1. So that tier 1 circuit was like 9 times you had to be able to do it. So I guess long story short, I go through the audition process, and I play my music. I'm a mellophone player. and you have to do a visual audition as well. I was offered a contract my first time, which means that they want you to come be a member. So I was super, super surprised to receive that and just incredibly thankful. But so after you receive that contract, you go through monthly trainings, monthly camps. You go back to Atlanta once a month and you train with everybody again. And they're always tracking to make sure that you got better every time. So that fitness circuit that I was talking about, they want to see your growth every month. So by the time that we had made it to May, which is what we call move-ins, I had really worked and kept at it, and I was able to make that Tier 1 fitness, and our group was like ready to go on. So that's just something like, I don't think people quite realize like the
Music
physical.
almost took a back burner.
It did.
To the physical.
So it's crazy the amount of physicality like that our marching band students need to have, and it's just really important. I think that that's recognized and celebrated too. So.
Well, I think it's way overlooked, like you said. I didn't realize.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. But when Matt's daughter Alyssa was going through band, of course, he was telling me, of course, what to do in the summertime. Pretty much like a 2-a-day.
Yes.
Equivalent to a football, but maybe even longer days than the football players. So that gave me a whole new perspective and respect for the band band members. So, and then of course another kudos to you to make a team like that. That's a big. Big time.
Thank you. And I do owe like all of that to like my start here at Wellston, because we're a competitive program. And it's just something I never ever would have got into if it hadn't have been for this program. So it's just really special. It's something I'll always kind of hold close. So.
Awesome. Well, if you folks haven't figured it out, we don't have a slouch sitting here. I mean, this is somebody that's well qualified, very accomplished in her music career, for as young as she is even. I mean, to say all these things is
I'm very impressed.
very, very impressive.
Thank you.
And we certainly hope you hang around for a long time.
Well,
Absolutely.
One thing that we've talked about a lot of times in our past, I think we've settled for average, and it's good enough. But it's good to see that they selected somebody that's above average. And then that you'll even bring it to another standard, and you'll be the Josh Willett moving in forward. And because he, like you said, Josh did a lot of good things for a program, and you can just take it to the next level. So congratulations on that.
Well, thank you so much. And I do just want to mention quickly to Emily Talley, the outgoing band director.
Yes.
She has done amazing work with the kids the last 2 years. Her positivity that she brought to the program, it still holds through to this day. And I'm really excited to get to continue on her work as well. So
Awesome. Well, we don't want to take up too much time. We can sit here and talk to you all night, but let's get your seniors out
absolutely.
here. All right. Hey, seniors.
Seniors.
So as they come out, would you introduce them as they come by?
Yeah. Do you want them to kind of like file in the back?
Sure,
or?
they can just
Watch
fill
this
in, and
one.
we'll just kind of.
Okay.
These mics are pretty hot, so if we
Okay.
ask them anything,
Sure.
we'll be able to pick it up.
All right, well, these are our Wellston Golden Rocket Marching Band seniors.
Welcome.
They are absolutely amazing. I've loved getting to know them over the summer. They've helped my transition just tremendously. I ask them all kinds of questions and just make sure we're kind of all on the same page and like, hey, is this cool? Is this not cool? And they always tell me what's up. So our first senior over here, this is Wyatt McGee. He plays the baritone. He's also a baritone soloist for us this year in our show, so you'll get to hear him. Yeah, and then I think I covered all the things about Wyatt. There's definitely more, but okay. Next we have Elizra Pugh. She is our equipment chief, which she's going to talk to you about that in a little bit if we have time. She's also a trumpet player. And she is a trumpet soloist this year as well. So she works really, really hard. She's kind of the brains behind our whole like traveling operation. So she's really great at that. Next we have Ivory Helm Tucker. They are a trumpet player as well, and they are one of our soloists. So we're really happy to have them here, and they work really, really hard to get the marching and music where it needs to be. So we're really thankful for you. All right. Next, we have Emma McGowan. She is our senior field commander. So Emma was a field commander. This is her second year. She did it as a junior as well. So she shows really strong leadership, I think, to do that 2 years in a row. And she's definitely helped this transition. She knows exactly what to do. She's rock steady with her steady beat. which is what a field commander does. They conduct. She's a student conductor, so she's excellent. Emma's also a flute player, and she's been picking up the trumpet in jazz band. So
Nice.
yeah. And then last over here we have Kirsten Fannin. She is a clarinet player, clarinet section leader this year, and she's a clarinet soloist in the marching band show this year as well. And she's a really, really positive source of energy, and I'm just so thankful for this group of seniors. You're amazing. So, yeah.
Awesome. Let's ask them a few
Oh,
questions.
sorry. We have one more senior that is not with us tonight. Her name is Chesney McFadden, and she is our flute section leader. So, yep. Just want to mention her as well.
Okay. Before the show, we said we'd have you guys talk a little. So I hope that's not an issue, not a deal breaker. We just lost ears. No,
we're good.
Okay, we're good. Elizabeth, what is the equipment she uses?
So whenever we're loading or unloading our trailer, like even home games, since the football field isn't at the school, it's every football game, every competition, every parade. I'm kind of the one that directs people where to go, when to put their instrument up, and where all our equipment goes. All the pit, which is front ensemble, what you see at the front of the field, our podiums, drum line, all the wind instruments. I tell them all where to go.
Who's telling Mr. Montgomery to take the podium up for you? That's what I want to know. Who's directing that? The big podium that you stand on, like home games. Yeah. Does she direct him like it needs to go in a certain place, or do you do that? Okay. Me and Nathan was talking about that.
Yeah, I saw Monty Montgomery
Yeah.
putting that up the first Oak Hill game, and I tell you what, that's a lot of things that I guess unsung heroes as a band's boosters, the parents behind the scenes,
Yeah.
that a lot of folks don't see. So yeah.
There's a lot of logistics that go into, making our band program work. So we're super thankful for all the volunteers and parents and our students for just making it run smoothly. That equipment she's talking about, it isn't light. Like it's the drums are
And there's a
heavy.
lot of it.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Absolutely. So excellent
How many
job.
band members? What did you say? 40?
65.
65.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a lot of equipment.
Absolutely.
So Wyatt, you play baritone. Explain to the lay folks out there that aren't familiar with music what a baritone is.
It's basically like if you took a trombone, it sounds like a trombone, but it plays more like a trumpet. So it has valves, but it's in the same range as a trombone. And typically plays more lower stuff with like the tubas. Things
Okay.
like that.
Okay. I wasn't even familiar with that. I know a little bit about music, so. So how long have you been playing?
I've been playing the baritone since like halfway through 7th grade.
Okay.
Before that, I played clarinet because that's just what I had.
So went from a woodwind to a brass.
Yeah.
Huh?
At
Which
the
do you like
time-
better?
Definitely baritone.
Okay.
Because, I don't know. It's just really my speed. Like halfway through the 7th grade year, he was like, "Do you want to try baritone or tuba?" And I played both. Wasn't great at the tuba, so it was like, "Okay, baritone."
That's okay.
I've
No worries.
been doing that since.
Okay. You have to refresh my memory on your name. Ivory. And you've been in band how long?
Since 5th grade, and I've been on the same instrument ever since.
And that is
Trumpet.
trumpet. Okay.
I love trumpet.
So something that I like to ask kids to play trumpet and sax because I'm a jazz guy.
I like sax.
I love jazz. Do you listen to Miles Davis? Oh my goodness. Homework.
Yeah.
The only jazz, I guess, kind of music that I listen to is Maynard Ferguson's Birthday.
Okay.
That's like kind of it.
How about Chris Body? No Chris Body? Go home and look up Chris Body and Miles Davis. That's your two homework assignments.
Absolutely.
And your band director agrees. Do you have any aspirations after high school to continue music?
Yes, I do hope to become a music educator, and I hope to work with a competition band very much like ours at a high school. But the difference is I'm going to move up to as cold of a school that I can find because I love the cold weather.
Nice.
Really?
I'm on the same page. I like this kid. Trumpet player likes cold weather. Hey, we're on the same page.
So where are you looking at?
Ohio University. That's what you meant.
Well, it's not that much colder there.
Well, I thought you meant for education. vacation.
Oh, I mean, you want colder weather, so you're talking about once you graduate, you're gonna go colder.
Yeah.
I got you.
So
Okay.
essentially, I'm moving up towards the Vermont area,
Okay.
but I heard there's not a lot of competitive marching bands in Vermont, so I'm gonna get like as close to there as I can.
Gotcha.
Well, best of luck to you, and wherever music takes you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's talk to Emma. You've been doing this since 7th grade.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Let me get a mic back here where we can kind of hear you a little bit. And your primary instrument again? Flute. Okay. Have you ever done? Now you said she was experimenting, getting into some other stuff too, besides
Yep.
just flute.
Trumpet for
Trumpet.
jazz band.
Okay, jazz band. Talk about your responsibilities as a field commander, because we talked about this on the radio broadcast last week, how that's almost kind of like a director on the field.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of like her right-hand person. So what does generally a season as a field commander look like?
Well, first you have to know everybody's part. You have to know what's supposed to be happening, when, and how all of it works together. So we basically just know everybody's part plus our own. We also have to figure out how to help everyone, like while we're conducting, like what can we do that will benefit them. It's more.
So in football talk, that's kind of like the quarterback out there.
Yeah.
Correct.
QB.
And you know, trying to relate to everybody out there.
It's very important. Now, leadership is obviously a part of that, and a lot of that I'm sure translates into things that aren't necessarily music related. So, kudos to you. My oldest daughter, Alyssa, was a field commander for 1 year. She was also a mellophone player. So, small town. Are there any specific leadership qualities that you think are the most important?
I feel like just empathy, because you have to be able to help them and like relate to them and figure out why it's not working and figure out all the other stuff behind it.
That's key. And that's key. And that you'll find, not to get too philosophical, but he can speak to this, and I'm sure Jordan, all of us have been in some type in the real world in our management positions, understand that. If you base everything off of empathy, you'll go places in this life. So hats off to you and everything you do. It's a huge part of the band. I can't say enough about that. So before we take a break here, I want to get to Kirsten. You've been around a long time. I recognize your face. That's how long you've been around. So I'm sure you knew Alyssa. Tell us what section leaders do.
So we are responsible for, making sure that our section is doing everything they're supposed to be, as well as helping teach the music. So I could, lead a marching section where I could, teach them the specifics of the music and really pick out the things that we need to work on.
Awesome. So how much of your practice time would you say amongst the entire band is sectional practices and full band practices?
I would say it's probably split pretty evenly.
About 50-50, you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was that question? Marching versus music for this year?
Section versus like a full group practice.
Oh,
I
okay.
think.
Yeah, so we usually do start our rehearsals out every day after school with some sectional time. This year, our big focus is visual. We've wanted to increase our visual scores in competition for a while now.
So for the novice, what is the difference in visual? What's the scoring? Explain that part of it.
Yeah, so when we go to competition, there are some different categories that the band will get scored on. One of those is music, obviously, because that's what you hear, the sounds that we make. Another category is visual, which is the marching component. So our technique, do we all look the same? What shapes are we making on the field? Is it just cohesive? Are we moving together? And then our next category is called general effect. So that's just kind of like overall, how impressive was your show? Like how well did
It's like
it?
a combo. Score.
Yeah, a combination.
The wow factor.
We also get judged in color guard, which is our the flags that you see out on the field, and also our percussion. They have a separate category as well. So one of our big focuses this year is visual. We've had maybe lower scores there in the past, and we really want to bring those up this year. So kids are doing a great job. We're working really hard on that technique, and every day I think we get better at it. So super proud of them.
That's all you can ask for.
Yep.
So now with these competitions, do they still do? How do they give you the reviews? It used to be on a cassette tape.
So that has changed a good deal. I think I remember when I was in school here, like my band director would get like a packet after the show, and we'd have to stay like a really long time at night to like wait until they got the packet. But now I think it's on an app, and the judge will like kind of talk maybe how we are right now, but they just record their comments, and then it goes to the app, and then the band director gets it and can share it, and we're able to go like a lot quicker. So,
Nice.
Yep.
So back to Kirsten, do you get access to that by yourself to review before you review it with your section, or how do you guys handle that? Of course, is this your first year as a section leader?
It is. I was
Okay.
the librarian last year, so I handled the music and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really sure how to answer that question. If you want.
Yes.
Section leaders usually don't get the tapes. We come in as a full band and we listen to those judges' tapes unless one is section specific. So like there will be a percussion judge. Percussion will probably go off and listen to that and guard. But usually the full wind ensemble will gather together, and then section leaders will be the ones who will mostly take from the judges' tapes and help their section to work on it later on.
So the judges break them individually, and then you guys kind of get.
Awesome. Well, I think we have a much better understanding of
Definitely.
the logistics and the time and the mechanics
Right.
and all of the components that make up a successful marching band program. Katie, hats off to you. It sounds like things
Thank you
are
very
going
much.
absolutely great. Seniors, best of luck to you.
Yeah, thank you all for coming up too.
Have a good year.
Short notice.
So we're excited.
September 14th. September 14th. The goal is to get them up here and to be playing as we're coming
Yes.
on. And so tune in September 14th.
So we're working on that, and then
Yeah.
you have your first competition this year is
September 16th,
and
that Saturday.
And where is that at?
It's at Rock Hill.
Okay, so that's not too far of a drive. So any of you folks that will travel for the football team, travel for your band. These kids really do a great job, work their tails off. It's just as much work as any other program in the school.
Right.
So can't say enough about them. So with that, Katie, thank you so much
All
for
right,
coming up and
thank
hanging out with us,
you.
seniors. Good luck. Thanks again for coming on.
Thanks, Lance.
And we'll talk to you later. Guys, we're going to take just a little bit of a break here. Again, Nathan, refresh me on what's going on this weekend at the patio.
So ultrasonic or ultrasound.
Thank you.
I mess this
Thank
up every time, so let me just read it off here so I don't mess it up. So ultrasound will be here Saturday, 8 to 11. If you haven't seen them, or if you have, come up. It's gonna be a great time. Okay.
Okay, we're on the
All right.
screen. We'll be back. Oh,
That's what you got.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Patio, Grubs and Suds here in Wellston, Ohio, live. I'm Matt Petersen, with me Nathan Molihan and Jordan Lackey. We are pleased to have once again on this week's show Chris Graham, head coach of the Wellston Golden Rockets. Welcome him up, Coach.
Thank you.
Good to have you, man. Good to see you.
Thank you much.
Oh, reach. There you go. So here in a couple minutes, we'll bring up a couple players that we want to feature from last week's game. But just kind of want to get your thoughts coming off of that one. It's a tough one.
Tough loss.
But I think a lot of good things happen.
Yes.
So, one of the things that we talked about earlier before you got here was how important body language is and how players respond to adversity. And a lot of times you see a team get it handed to them like that. Stuff, a lot of finger pointing goes on, or kids start getting down. We saw kids play 4 quarters of football. Didn't matter if they were up 30, down 30. Our guys came out and slugged it out for 4 quarters. To me, that was the biggest takeaway.
Right. Kudos to Fairland. They are a good program. They made a big run last year. I don't know how many kids they lost, but they were big. They were big. They were physical. We knew we was up for a challenge. We took the positives. The positive things are what we took. Halftime, we got on them a little bit. They come out and responded well after that. That first drive coming out, they had a mixed group in. It wasn't just all their second. They had kind of a mixed group in there with their first team and their second teams. And then we went right down and scored. That's what we wanted to do when we come out of the locker room, is try to get back on track. And I thought in the third and fourth quarters, we did a good job of getting back on track and
staying disciplined.
And we celebrated our positives at the end of the game. We talked about some things we did wrong early, but we did have success. It didn't seem like it, but when you watch the film, our third drive, we were actually moving the ball and we fumbled.
Yeah.
We started on our own 30 and got to their 30 or 40 and we fumbled the ball. But we were driving the ball, so we just had some mishaps. And I think the kids were a little nervous, or at the start for sure. Knowing all the stuff around Fairland and how good they were and how big they are, and they see it on film too. So
well, that's what we talked about, Coach, coming into the game. Of course, the numbers they have 50 players plus probably, and then of course our numbers, we know what they are. So when you come out and start out, and you're already, like you said, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the way it is. Kids come out, they're a little bit intimidated when you're playing Fairland, a good team. And then they start out with a kickoff return like that, which just one little mistake and that opens up. It's not, and then that gets them down a little bit and question, hey, do I belong here? So the first drive, we get out there, Johnny throws a good pass. We didn't catch it. Their guy catches it, the fast guy on the field runs it back for a touchdown. You're down 14-0 within like 2 minutes. It's hard to come back right there mentally from it. And the one thing we kept saying over and over that we were impressed with is the body language from the guys. I know from the press box, it looked like they didn't quit fighting. They kept fighting for you, and that says a lot about the coaching staff that they're coming out there and they didn't give up. And there's a lot of things you can take away from that game. Like you said, we did some good things against a really good team. And then the one thing I think I understand, from Fairland's coaching perspective, I think they understand our numbers and that conditioning is going to be an issue. So they spread us completely out across the field, went no huddle against us. And that hurt us, and we one-on-one, I think we can match up with a lot of those players and play with them. But when they can sub in and out like they were, and then we have our guys playing both ways, you could tell that really took a toll early in the second quarter there. So
one of the good things I thought we'd done against them in the first half was the run game. Besides that one big run they had, and we had a guy tackled. Our linebacker was actually tackled on that play.
No flag.
Yeah, they were in a flag. I'm not blaming it, but anyway, he broke that big run. Other than that, we kind of seized their run game a little bit.
Yeah. And we actually talked about that.
Now they did get some. The quarterback was pretty good. The coach's son, he's pretty good, and he throws a decent ball, and he can also run. So it's kind of that. If you play man, you run them guys off, and you get him around the end. So you do the best you can, and with the players you have, and I thought our kids did an outstanding job, and it didn't quit.
Right.
I told them, I said, just keep your head down, play. Don't look at the clock. Just play. Do what you're supposed to do, and what it is, what it is.
But of course, doing the game on the radio, we said the same exact thing you said, Coach. There's a lot of good things we did that, I guess, from the radio perspective, a lot of things that you guys did great against a good team that you can take in and build off from, and you can't. There was a lot of situations put you guys in tough situations, but the one thing I think is the attitudes. you seem like you guys, for the most part, you come out on top as far as mentally. You had a big run there. Like you said, the drive coming out second half, that had to make you feel good as a coaching staff. You go in, hey, let's calm down. Let's just go out. This is second half football. Start over. And just win every play. So, from our perspective, Coach, we were very proud of how you guys performed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the difference between penalty yards from last week to this week, I mean, that's a big step in the right direction. That's something definitely positive to look at.
Iron sharpens iron. Those are the types of games that, I thought, hey, if we're going to compete for titles, we need to play those types of games. Yes, number-wise, are they kind of out of our league? Possibly. But maybe in the future, if we get numbers up and things like that and, get more kids out, then things can change. But our kids are, from these games, some things that they're getting out of is toughness.
Exactly.
And we kept preaching toughness, and they weren't fighting amongst each other. They weren't arguing. There's a little squabble, but then after that, they said, hey, let's bring it together, and they brought it together, and I was really proud of them, because it'd been real easy to quit and lay down.
It would have been.
But they didn't. They fought and fought and fought. We scored 21 points, and, so I was
leadership.
pleased. Yeah.
One of the other things that I think was interesting was let's see a little bit more of the offense.
Yes.
Spread it out a little bit more. Johnny looked really good throwing the ball. Something I wanted to point out on the play, Evan Cantor, when Cam Kitts picked that off and ran it back for 6, that's not on Evan Cantor. Like, if you watch that play develop, that's just a good play by a DB. Evan Cantor has that thing in his hands, turns, and DB just comes up and says, mine, and he's gone. What I liked, and we actually called this on the radio, if you listen to the broadcast, I think we're in a 3rd and mid a couple series later. I said, I'd like to see him go back to Evan Cantor, show the kid you believe in him, and let's get a punt. And sure enough, next play, complete pass to Evan Cantor for a game of about 11 or 12.
Yeah. Evan is a big player for us now, so, and we're looking for him for big plays. If you remember the first game, he had a little incident where he dropped the ball. Said, so we're going to go back to it, and we told him that we're coming to you.
Yep.
So your job is to catch it, and we're going to keep coming to you because we have confidence in him, and we know he can catch it. He does it in practice, so we're just going to keep throwing the ball to him.
Yeah.
And we got, like I said, you got Kel out there. I think Kel had 220 yards on kickoff returns or something like that. So, I don't like that because that means they're kicking off a lot. That means they're scoring a bunch. But he started running the middle pretty well.
He ran hard.
And did an excellent job.
So, especially in that last return, being tired like you guys were, just because of the numbers issues, like we said over and over. But for him to go out there and then, of course, the kickoff team to block as well as they did, and then for Kel to break, 3 or 4 tackles and almost break it for a big return was like I said, it says something about your team and about them not quitting fighting. So from a fan perspective, we were proud of the guys, We understood what they're up against, and I don't know, I'm very proud of you guys.
Well, thank you. I think that, like I said, I'm proud of their effort and attitudes, and they responded. I kind of want to see how they responded out of halftime. And, we told them what we wanted to see, and we're going to watch films. And of course, we had some loafs this week and stuff like that to make up for, and some mistakes. But we, corrected those mistakes, and now we're going to move on. So
coming in against Minford, of course, is a run-dominant game. Our team seems like, they've got a big running back and does a pretty good job. And they got a guy, number 27. I think he's had 3 punt returns for touchdowns already in 2 games.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you've been game planning again for those 2 guys, and obviously not asked to give your game plan up, but I know you probably spent a lot of time with your team talking about those 2 players.
Yeah.
So, and then we understand you do have a couple injuries. That's going to, numbers we've been saying it, over and over. So, how's that going to affect your game plan this week?
Well, we got one replacement actually. On defense and in offense. Clarkson, he hurt his hand. He actually played 2 games with his hand broken.
Yeah.
Of course, I asked him, I said, are you going to play this week? But I think he's having surgery this Friday.
Oh, he's going to have surgery.
They're going to kind of do it right away. And then Justin Jackson, he has a torn labrum, but he don't know his condition yet as far as whether he's going to play or not yet. It's his non-dominant shoulder. So he said he may be able to still throw.
Yeah.
But I left it up to him
right.
and the doctors. So we planned ahead for Clarkson as linebacker. We got a replacement in for Clarkson. We had some adjustments there. And you'll probably see a little bit more Mason Collins as you've seen last week.
And we're excited about that. 'Cause Mason's a fast kid. Of course, we'll talk to him here in a little bit. He actually had a collision in the game.
That's his brother Hunter over there.
Mason not here? Did Mason come?
I thought you said. I thought you wanted Hunter come.
I think I did.
Yeah.
That was my bad. I texted Coach. So
We're all mixed up. Okay.
he could. Hey, they're twins, so he
Yeah.
can fill in.
But Minford, they do have that. Seems like every week, everybody has that dominant running back, and Minford's got a big one, kind of like what we faced last week. Good dominant running back, and the quarterback's pretty quick. He's a younger quarterback, but he's still fast.
Yeah.
Throws a good- throws a
Yeah,
good-
they run a little bit of option. Yeah.
there is some option, but typical Minford is a run game.
Right.
They play power football, and they're good at what they do.
Right. I think we match up well against them, really.
I do too. Of course, they're coming off beat Rock Hill 17-7 opening week, and then lost by a point last week in Chesapeake. So
They scored all those points in the first half. There was not a point scored in the second half.
ain't that crazy?
And Bedford went up, I think 14 to nothing. Then a pick six, and then the tide turned a little bit. Then,
So I really think we could take this one. And it's of course at Minford, so it's another road game, back-to-back road game. Which, how does that affect it, Coach? Does that affect you guys? I mean, do you think that plays a factor in
That's first what, Coach?
a road game?
A road game, another road game.
Yeah, back-to-back.
I think we're prepared for road games. This is a short trip compared to Fairland last week. It was like an hour and I think 40 minutes on the bus.
There's a drive.
It was weather conditions, later game. I think that kind of threw our rhythm off a little bit.
Yeah.
I think this week, hopefully with the 7:30 start, we're back on schedule, back on time. Short bus, right about 40 minutes. So I'm thinking we should be in a lot better shape and more time-oriented for us. You know what I mean?
Should be good weather.
Yeah.
Pretty nice weather. All right, well, with that, if you guys don't have any more questions about last week, the Minford matchup, let's get our player of the game up here from last week. We decided to give this one to Gage Goheen.
All right.
So Gage is a pretty special guy. He's been around
Yes,
a
he
while.
is.
Plays hard. And Jordan, I think we talked about this as we're texting back and forth about who we want to give this to this week. Gage is a guy that goes 90 miles an hour from the opening snap until the end. And you saw that against Fairland. The play that stood out to me is he had a handle on him. I think it was running back coming out of the backfield. The guy just got away from him. Gage outruns linebackers and everybody else about 15 yards downfield, force a fumble.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the fumble went out of bounds, but that's a hustle play.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a senior
Motor. He got a
offensive
motor on.
lineman.
Oh, yeah.
That's the guy that's driving that O-line. So, Gage,
He got caught on some pursuit drills earlier in the year.
yeah.
Yeah, on our pursuit drill, he was doing a little loafing, so we got him a little bit. He don't loaf anymore, I can tell you that.
He sure does. We don't see it on tape. So, Gage Goheen, you want to come down to the desk, man?
Want to bring that chair around?
Yeah, Gage, if you don't care, grab that chair. Just sit that over next to Coach there.
There you go. We'll switch seats, buddy. You sit in the camera. You there.
Greetings. Sit down now, bud.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Are you hung up on some wires? Oh, okay. So we'll just have to be careful. I think he said that chair was holding wires up, so we'll just have to be careful there. So,
Gage, I remember seeing you as a freshman playing JV ball, and I'm like, that kid's got a lot of potential. And now, what are you, a junior now?
Yeah, I'm a junior.
Junior. And, of course, I never got to watch you much last year. But watching you already this year, you can tell you're a dominant player out there. And I guess, what does football mean to you? Just kind of tell us.
It's basically everything to me. That's all I do anymore.
Football's
That,
all.
a little bit of wrestling and work. That's
So
it.
it's a lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
So you do a lot of work in the off season, lifting, in the weight room, things like that. And so
I
how?
try to show up to almost every winter lift that I can if I'm doing another sport.
Well, good, and that means a lot because when you want to be a great football player, a great athlete, no matter what you're going to play, the off season is the most important. A lot of folks want to not worry about the off season, show up in the season, and then wonder why they can't be a starter or be a great player. So kudos to you for working on your craft. Like I said, I've seen you play since you're a freshman. I think even in your 8th grade year, I watched you play, and you stood out there. So I guess Matt was explaining, of course, about the play of the game there and the player of the game. You did a great job, and every game up to this point we've watched the scrimmages, you've done a great job, and I just want to say kudos to you. A lot of times linemen don't get noticed,
Right.
and we try to call that
We
out.
noticed the effort, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We've noticed the effort consistently. And that's something you can't teach. So we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Also the strongest. He's our strongest athlete.
I don't know about that.
Well, that's
Hey,
you know,
take it. If coach is giving it to you, take it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And on a football team, you're the strongest guy. That's saying a lot. So that does say that your work ethic is there. And a lot of times, you know, the line. I'll tell you right now, the line is the most important part on the offense and defensive side. Without the line, those pretty boys in the back will never get your picture in the paper. You know, and when my third year or fourth year, I think coaching middle school, I coached the line. And I'll tell you what, it's a craft, you know, and it's the most important part of the game because if you guys don't do your job,
The unit in itself.
yeah,
You know what
I mean, you guys don't do your job. I'm telling you what, like you said, Johnny Scott don't run for 100 and whatever yards he runs for. So good job, you know, and that's why I love Matt picking you as player of the game. So.
Well, it wasn't just me. I mean, we had a couple. We threw Kale in the mix because 218 yards of return yards.
Absolutely.
And a couple of those it seemed like you ran 100 yards to get 40.
Yeah.
You're just running and juking. But it was 2 consecutive games now we've got to watch, and just about every run play that busts. See number 78 coming around and leading the way. And
Almost every other play, actually.
yeah, so we're calling this thing on the radio. Normally I do play-by-play, and these guys will pick up a color commentating in between. And almost every play when they're describing what happened is Gage Goheen on the lead block. So that effort doesn't go unnoticed.
Gage,
I've seen you, Johnny. Somebody dive on top of Johnny, and I saw this big guy coming in and just ripping people off, and I'm like, that's my man right there. I like that.
Jordan was
I like
a quarterback.
to see that.
He was a pretty boy
so
back.
I respect that, man.
So Gage, what position do you play on offense and defense, just so you can tell everybody?
For offense, I play quick guard, and defense, I rotate between like tackle and end for right now.
So when you're watching film this week, who do you think, from your perspective, defensive lineman, who is their strongest defensive lineman?
Probably number 75. He's usually a tackle and an end. But he's big and slow, but he's pretty strong, probably.
So on defense, who do you think their best lineman is offensively from a defense?
Probably 75.
75 too. So
Yeah.
both ways. Yeah.
So, no, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
go.
No, I was just going to say, one of the things that stood out to me that we were talking about before you came to the desk here was you had one play against Fairland where now this is impressive. Had a running back kind of break the end, and you had him, and he kind of put a little stiff arm or something and got loose. You didn't give up on the play. Tell us about that. Did you just get mad? Because that's what it looked like. I thought that guy's just hacked off because the dude got away from him. You chase him down and force a fumble.
I was mainly wanting to earn a sticker.
I hope he got one, Coach, because it's
They're good, Coach.
No, but I got through the line untouched. I seen him look at me. He took a jab step like he was going to go the other way. And he came right towards me. I was too high, missed it, had him again, break free, and I finally caught him later. Just knocked the ball out and it went out of bounds before we could get it.
that was a bummer that went out of bounds, but man, what a hustle play, because it's not like you got some slow defenders out there. You got Kale Fott on the corner and Clarkson out there. He outruns both of those guys and makes the play. So, fantastic effort, man. We can't say enough about it. The line play, like Nathan said, often gets overlooked, and we don't want to do that here. I mean, that's a key part of the success of our run game, pass game. Everything hinges off that line. So, do a great job leading those guys, man. Congratulations to you.
Gage, would you consider yourself one of the leaders on both the offense and defensive line?
Maybe, I don't know. I like to give the other guys a lot of credit too.
Well, yeah,
for what they
of
do.
course.
You guys feed off each other.
But leading a lot of times is just doing more than talking, and like I said, you did a great job out there, so congratulations on what you do. Go out and get a win this week.
That's all we can hope for and try to earn.
We're excited for the matchup. I think the line's a big part of that. We talked about, I've got some notes here on, Jeff Pike, the running back, 2,000 career yards rushing. He's coming up on a couple school records or something. Quarterback, they run a lot of option, all that stuff. But that hinges off their line too. So, we're looking forward to see you guys, you and Hunter Brown and Hunter Collins, some of those guys get out there and get nasty. Push those guys around a little bit.
Our line is actually improving every week.
Yeah.
We're getting better and better each week.
Absolutely.
I'm really proud of the kids' effort. Individual, team, combination, drills. I mean, they're really comboing up, really working hard on their craft and what they're doing. They take a little bit of pride in what they're doing.
Engage, something you may not have heard, that as we were watching the game, me and Matt did the radio last week, we're proud of the body language, because a lot of times when you get down like that, it's easy to start pointing fingers and then just not give it effort. But you guys kept fighting the whole game, and we want to say thank you for that, because you guys represent us as a community out there and playing on the field. And when you guys keep fighting like that, and you just take it and you just keep going and you keep punching and you keep swinging, you're representing your whole town. And I want to say thank you from an old pass football player, from George's an old pass football player. Thank you for representing us very well.
Yeah.
Comes from a great family, man. His parents are always helping out in the concession stand, and
They try when they're not doing, they don't have to work or anything.
and
So that's one of the awards that we get when our backs get certain yardages, right? That they reach these milestones that we have for their stickers. The lion gets that along with the back.
Good.
Because if the lion, if he gets rushes for 150, he wouldn't have got that without the line. So they also get stickers.
That's important. Very important.
sounds good. Well, Gage, thanks for coming on, man. Congratulations to you. Best of luck this week, man. We're watching.
Let's get
We
Hunter.
will get.
Okay, so we do a pick 'em and get. You want to get Hunter up here real quick? Or actually, Mike said we got to do a pick 'em and wrap it up.
Okay. Go ahead and pick them back.
Let's get Hunter over here real quick.
Yeah, we had
Hunter Collins.
Hunter Collins is here.
All right,
Okay,
Chris.
Hunter.
That's Mason.
Oh, well.
That's
yeah,
the one-
Mason.
That's the one we wanted.
Whichever.
That's the one we wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them Collins, boys. Get one of
Hey,
them Collins.
I'm the worst with names.
That's okay. So we have to be clear.
He was watching us and he heard us say,
Uh-oh, we're
Mason
unplugged.
Hunter. Or we said, well, I thought it was Mason. And voila, he just appears.
So it's Mason Collins is with us. We actually gave him the Moreau Collision Player of the Game, or I'm sorry, Collision of the Game, hit of the game, on offense, on an offensive play. That's something normally you'd think about defensive guys getting hit of the game. We gave it to Mason. He had about, I think it was about a 23-yard run. He kind of got pinned against the sideline and he couldn't get back in bounds. There was one guy in front of him. There was no juking. He just lowers the boom and knocked the guy back about 3 or 4 yards. So great hustle play, man. Way to play hard. So how'd it feel? I mean, what are you thinking on that play? Did you have any avenue back towards the middle of the field, or no?
Wasn't looking either, was it?
Well, Mason, I remember this summer when you and your brother were up in baseball games, and so of course my wife was like, "Wow, those boys are strong. Look, got good sized legs." I mean, she was complimenting you guys. I'm thinking, yeah, they work hard, they work the tail off in the weight room. And I remember talking to you guys about the effort you guys put in the weight room in the off season, and I tell you what, that paid off last Friday night when you trucked that guy. I mean, all those reps you put in the weight room and just the off season type stuff. That's what counts. So I want to say thank you for playing hard, and like I was telling Gage Goheen, thanks for representing us old guys, in our town with pride, because you guys play your tail. Both you and your brother are a really good young man, and I'm very proud of you guys, what you do.
Thank you.
And that's a hard-nosed grind play in the fourth quarter.
Oh yeah.
So after we've been going at it and getting slugged around for almost the whole football game, he comes out and lays a play like that. So that goes to what we were saying earlier. There's no quitting these guys.
The other thing was we were down the quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a wildcat.
Right?
And he's our wildcat. So we put him in a wildcat, and he's like, Coach, I want the ball. So we gave him an opportunity to run the ball.
Reins
and
off,
he turns
Coach.
into 65, 70-yard run. So
He did it.
Yeah.
So getting ready for this week, looks like we'll see a little bit more of you. Got some injuries we talked about a little bit earlier. How you feeling? I mean, physically you feeling pretty good?
I've been waiting to run the ball a long time.
So next man up mentality, right? And this is, hey, once you get an opportunity to shine, take advantage of it, and just be smart. Like a lot of times, I think some people try too hard. If you know you're down, go down. Don't force a fumble. But man, every touchdown or every time you run the ball, you got to think I'm scoring. But then you got to be smart when you understand that you can't get any more yards. Just go down and don't risk an injury or a fumble.
Let the play
Yeah,
develop.
I can't wait to watch you run this weekend.
Yeah, we're excited to see more of you. And of course, we try not to do the sideline coach kind of thing. We never tell coach how to coach his team. But one of the things that we said is we hope we see as the season goes on more Mason Collins, because a couple of runs that he's had even out of the wingback position, really fast, man. He breaks that edge quick. You guys can't really see him on camera, but he's a physical guy. I mean, he's a good sized back. So we're excited for you. Congratulations on getting hit of the game. We expect more of that effort going forward. So.
All right.
With that, we'll take just a little bit of a break here. Come back, we'll do just a quick recap of the week, and then go into our picks for the week and wrap it up.
Sounds
thanks
good.
for having us, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Coach,
guys. Good
thanks.
luck.
Yep.
tonight, so we can't hear Mike in the booth to tell us kind of what's going on. So hopefully we can get work through that next week. We're going to wrap it up pretty quick tonight. Do our picks for this week. Who was the first game?
Berg and Jackson.
I would like to point out that I'm 8-2 in this thing.
Jeez.
We're breaking up. It's breaking up. I can't
It's a
hear
long
you.
season, Matt.
So at 8-2, so we got Berg and Jackson. Jordan, who you got?
I got Jackson. I'm gonna go with the Ironman this Friday. I got faith in them, and I think they might pull this win off tomorrow night.
Hey, Berg and Ironton went down to the wire, and I think Berg's a pretty good team this year. I think they're going to take Jackson.
I'm with Nathan on this one, man. I got to go Berg. Like you said, only a 1 point difference when they played Ironton, and Ironton put it on Jackson. I worked with a couple of guys from Jackson. They said,
Where's the game at?
It's at Jackson.
It's at Jackson.
Yeah.
Say
Home.
that. Jackson's down 20 seniors and a starting quarterback.
Bingo.
So I think that makes a difference. I'll go Berg.
Okay, the next game is Ironton and Fairland.
Ooh.
Going with me first? I'm gonna go with Ironton.
Yeah, I mean, Fairland's a good team, but I think traditionally and historically,
Tradition was the first thing I thought of whenever I saw that matchup.
Yeah, Ironton's a really deep team, and so I'm going to go with Ironton.
I'm going with Ironton, too. Like you said, top dog's top dog until somebody knocks him off, and that hasn't happened yet. So Fairland with all that speed, I don't think it's going to be enough. So we'll go Ironton.
And then we have Waverly and Unioto. And that was a tough game for me. I tried to look at a bunch of different, I tried to look at the previous games that Unioto's played and Waverly's played, their opponents. There's just not enough data out there. So traditionally, I think Waverly's owned that rivalry, so I'm going with Waverly on that one.
I'm going to tell you, I've done strenuous research on this matchup right here, and I'm telling you right now, I think Unioto's got the nod here for me. Yeah.
I'm going Unioto as well. I think Newton Hoops is just on it this year, man.
Yeah.
That quarterback's a gunslinger. He's going to be hard to beat.
That's a name you can't forget right there.
That's it, man. He's playing pretty well. So
Absolutely.
I'm going Unioto.
And then the next game is VC and Trimble. VC travels to Trimble. Last year, VC beat
Going up the shade, heading up the shade.
Yeah, so VC beat him up pretty bad. Zeke had 5 touchdowns in that game. Trimble, I don't know. I know they beat Nelsonville this year, or Nelsonville beat them in a close game. I'm just not sold that they're back yet. So I want to go VC. If VC can keep the one thing, penalties has plagued VC up to this point. So if they can stay penalty-free, going up to an environment like Trimble, it's going to be tough. So I think VC grinds this one out because of the numbers and just because of the grind out. They can basically overpower, I think, Trimble.
For me, this is a close one. It's just going. I think this will be might be a game of the week in high school football in Southern Ohio.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it could go either way. I'd like to see Vinton County win, but I need to beat Matt, so I'm gonna go with Trimble here. I think I'm gonna go with Trimble here, just to try to get the nod on Matt right here. So.
Well, if somebody's coming after me, I got to go against them, right? I'm taking the Vikings on defense, man. They just part of
I respect that.
Our weekly recap that we didn't get to. Vinton County over Circleville 19-8. Circleville's only score was a 76-yard busted TD run.
Yeah.
That's it. If not for that, Vinton County shuts them out. So on Vinton County's defense, I'm going Vikings.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then the next game, of course, is Wellston-Minford. And I'm going to go with Wellston. I think, if we can come in and just stay injury-free, keep the penalties to a minimum, and just come in and I think we can win that game. So I'm going to go with Wellston.
Yeah, I got a bad place in my heart for Minford, so I'm definitely going to go Wellston here. We lost to Minford my senior year, and we lost to them my final game of basketball in my high school basketball career out at Rio Grande during the sectional championship. So let's go Wellston. Let's go Rockets. Come on.
Well, as you know from last week, I'm not afraid to pick against Wellston if I have to. I'm going Rockets also, man. I just think after last week, they saw the test. They came off a physical game. They're hungry. They're going to come back. If we can expect that same effort against Fairland, it's going to be a similar type game on offense for both teams. Both teams dominant run, so it's going to be whose line can do better. Right. I'm putting my money on Gage Goheen.
I'm putting my money on our athletes and our offensive line and our defense too. Because I tell you what, our defense, we played a really good football team last week, but our defense really came out to play week 1 against Oak Hill and really shut them down.
Well, Minford's strength is their run game, and our strength is our defensive run game. So I think our strength against their strength, I think we're going to hold them off and beat them.
It's going to be an interesting matchup. It really is. Yeah. Both schools are about the same size. I mean, we're not far away. We're familiar with each other. We don't play any of the same schools, really, but we play each other. So it's going to be interesting for sure. There's some history here.
That's it. So there you have it. You got rockets all across the board. Nate, you got anything else?
No, thanks for tuning in, and we'll get these technical difficulties worked out. I know Mike's working hard behind the scenes back there, and so yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, we're looking forward to being back next week, guys.
Yep. So come out this patio, Grubs and Suds this weekend for some entertainment, some music going on. I'm Matt Petersen, Nathan Molihan, Jordan Lackey. We'll see you next week.
Good night.
Go Rockets.